Hello, everyone. We're just going to get our dignitaries to gather. I realize we are just a couple of minutes late, but that's because the conversation has already begun. We're not used to sitting outside, but it's so lovely to do it. Okay. Give me 2 seconds. We're waiting for some recording because we are broadcasting this live. And we're also documenting this event for posterity. So once everybody's... Sorry, it's so curious over here, these things you can't see. Are we good? No, okay, just a minute. Handy people doing handy things. Okay, so now we begin. Tawao, tanshi, anin boju, tanyan yahipi, hello, bonjour. You may not know that, but hello, bonjour is a joke in the rest of Canada, but it doesn't fly so well here in Saskatoon. I wish to acknowledge the University of Saskatchewan and its art galleries and collections are physically located on Treaty 6. This treaty marks out, in part, the territories of the Nehiyaw, Anishinaabe, Saulteaux, Dene, Nakota, Lakota, Dakota, and it is the ancestral homeland of the Métis people. Borrowing the language of the feminist media studio in Jojage, Montreal, or Munyang, we share in the belief that territorial acknowledgement is both necessary to our project and inadequate, particularly if not joined to demands for restitution and reparation. The art galleries of the University of Saskatchewan acknowledge the settler colonial context in which our conversations and collaborations take place and recognize the work to be done towards accountability and reciprocity. We're here today to celebrate a collective gesture towards that goal. Anohc kipasikônaw, we rise, niipawi. This process began in January of 2020 with a blanket ceremony right here in the Gordon Snellgrove Gallery. The elders that guided us that day have cared for us throughout this project. Evelyn Linklater and Florence Highway met as children in Pelican Narrows, and while residential school survivors have both kept and cared for their language. They serve and guide many communities and have helped us to work through this project in a good way. While we were collectively scribing the names of the 13 moons of the lunar calendar on these slate stair treads that served as a pathway for students and faculty for nearly 100 years in the Thorvaldsen building, what we were ultimately building together were relations. This takes the time it takes, sincerity and openness. Florence and Evelyn have offered us all of this. It is my immense pleasure to invite them now to begin our proceedings in earnest. Please welcome Evelyn Linklater and Florence Highway.
Tansin tutimak, kinanas kumitnawa anunskaksipayak, ipiwichiyak, ipisitos nanas kumon gutawi no, mamawi gutawi no nanas kumaw, imidugisigansiyak, imidugigisipayak, awanons, nanas kumon, kuguminaw, tegistidimayak, iagu ᓅᒋհitowipîsim gaisidigatayag nitnan, utiutse, kiwitnok, iagu anots, kapi mamitse. nanas kumon niista anotskagi sigak. Kagi daw kinanas kumitinawaw. Mitsit kinstawinat nawaw. Mitsit mine kinstawinaw winawaw. Pugiti hiwap mitago nanas kumon. ᓅᒋＨИТΟΥΙΠީᓯᒼ tipskawipîsim. Kamamitsimaayak. Kukuminaw tsidigata nanitnan. Tananas kumuak. Kagidagigway utas kigiawiguisiak. Igagigway tipiditamak. Matskigwagagisipuitatanano. Maga. Kagiskino amaga wiyagigway. Awasak tagiskino amuayago. Tagistidimituak. Kapi pugawinak. Kanagiskawag tagistidimayak. Pugitiutsitniwa. Kapitagusigwa piwitsamiguago. Wistawamina tagistidimayago. Tasagituak tagitimaginatuak. Iguagiam taitidita magagipigitimaygawiak. Tapagitidita magiagonima. Magigawigats tawanigiskisiak. Hawigusipitamats tutimak. Nanas kumitnawan tigiut naman. Tisagidagsagit nawa tinigi. Hey. Okay, sorry.
Oh, just stand there and try to remember the main points of her talk. Niduman tuti mak Florence Highwayn sidegaso no pagos siganiguchi. Utagagix kinamagos yan Saskatoon. Yes. Welcome everybody, all our relations. It's a beautiful morning. Like we had said in our prayer, how thankful we are that today is a gift from the Creator. We want to honor the Rutting Moon that is the last of the moons that we are putting up on the steps of the University of Saskatchewan for the past 100 years. Elder also prayed, today is the full moon, the grandmother moon. And the message that she's giving is that we should open our minds, open our hearts. And the teaching we got from past elders that when you listen, is that they listen kindly. They give very readily their teachings, their learnings, pass them on to the young generation so that they may be healthier, on a better road that we have paved for them. And that is all the youth that are going to university, not only just one class of them, but all of them that come from all over the place to honor us, to walk these grounds, to be respectful, to be understanding, and to always, always be kind to each other. And that is the message that is given from the elder to you, every one of you. Hi, Hinige.
We're a little bit taller, excuse me. Thank you so much, Florence and Evelyn. Your guidance through this whole process has been such a gift to us. Sandy Bonnie, may I ask you to come up?
Okay.
My name's Sandy Bonnie, and I work as team lead for Indigenous Student Achievement Pathways in the College of Arts and Science. And one of the really joyful parts of my job is working with our ISAP students and peer mentors. And so right now, I'm just going to quickly introduce one of our peer mentors. So our peer mentors are students usually in second year or beyond who are volunteering their time to help first-year students find a sense of community, learn the ins and outs of what university life is all about. And it's my great pleasure to introduce Lane. Lane is new to campus this year, but started her university experience actually in our entirely virtual COVID year. And so it's an exciting moment for me to have a student who was a virtual acquaintance and kind of an imaginary person, and she's real and she's here as all of you are. So Lane, will you come up?
Thank you, Sandy. Okay, let's see. Sorry, I'm just a little bit shorter as well. Good morning, everybody. My name is Lane Daniels. As it was announced, I am in my second year of arts and science classes, and I didn't know where to start when I was thinking about joining university. I had a dream. I wanted to be educated and I wanted to help our communities and do something where I could be interactive with young Indigenous youth. And so I am currently in arts and science and I'm working towards a health studies degree with the focus on culture, environment, and health. So when I first heard about student achievement pathways, it was actually mentioned through my mom. And one thing that I really do love is the sense of community that you build with student achievement pathways. And I wanted to give back because I had such a great experience, online or not. With the smaller class sizes, you're able to build more of that social connection, and you are able to meet fellow classmates in your LC hours. So that's something that really benefited my learning. We meet every Mondays for an hour and we do our check-ins and we share resources, learning all about ISAP and the Aboriginal Student Center, what kind of resources are available to us on campus here. So my biggest message to all of the youth and students here today and to the youth that are thinking about going to university is to just do it. Take the leap of faith and believe in yourself, because there is a ton of support around you that believes in you as well. So we're all capable and we are all worthy of being university students and obtaining higher education. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lane. The ISAP community was a part of this project from the beginning, and we had grounding circles in the first week of January, as well as during Indigenous Achievement Week in 2020, and it was exciting to have our ISAP students come around and share stories about their student experience and what they wanted to be leaving and creating in the new spaces. So I hope that this project shares some of that student energy as well. The next person I'm going to introduce is someone who is also a great advocate for students. So our Provost and Vice President Academic at the University of Saskatchewan, Dr. Airini, brings 3 decades of experience fostering equity and Indigenous advancement in higher education. 3 decades, 1 year. They both are still very energetic. So. Airini began her post-secondary journey with a BA in Religious Studies and a Master of Education from the University of Canterbury, moving from there into an MBA from Massey University and a PhD in Curriculum and Instruction from the University of British Columbia. I'm an alumni of UBC too, but U of S is better. So. And UBC has recently recognized her as an outstanding alumni and Indigenous woman leader. She has additional credentials as a trained teacher and is a student of Indigenous Languages of New Zealand, a course of study which she undertook through night classes, as well as her full-time roles. Airini is a member of the Royal Society of New Zealand and has received top national research awards from New Zealand, but she has worked in senior administration at universities worldwide and holds academic appointments in Australia, New Zealand, as well as Canada, as well as an advisory position with the UN Food and Agricultural Organization. Dr. Airini was awarded Canada's prestigious Alan Blizzard Award for collaborative teaching. She served as an executive member of the Association of Canadian Deans of Education and co-led the first national network of Canada's Women's Deans of Education. And if that doesn't sound like she has enough energy, she's also a national representative in 2 sports and a multi-sport eventer, and one of only 40 athletes selected from around the world to race the Yukon 1000, which is the world's longest canoe race from Whitehorse to Alaska, during which she paddled 1,000 miles in 9 days along the Yukon River. So Airini, it's to come? Next July. Oh, wow. So she's bringing amazing expertise and energy to our university, and we're so excited to have you as an advocate for students.
Thank you very much.
Well, good morning, everybody. Bonjour à tous. Thank you for the reminder of 3 decades and the chance to be here with you all. To those who, please, behind me, please excuse my back. But I hope this will be like a circle together. Thank you. Bonjour à tous. Tansi, haukoda, Atlana te haukola. Tanshi, Haukona, Anin, and in the indigenous language of my land of birth, tēnā koutou katoa, tēnei te mihi nui ki a koutou kūtai mai, tēnei rā, me ngā mihi nui ki ngā tangata whenua, me ngā rangatira, me ngā tangata o ngā haue whā, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā rā koutou katoa. My respectful greetings to all those who gather today, to those of the First Peoples of these lands whose fires of authority continue to burn, to our respected elders here, and to those from the Four Winds, my greetings. And in the ancestral language of my Pacific ancestry, Talo Falava, Whawhataitele lava mole awanoa. Thank you for this the space to meet, and as Jake spoke of before, to create relations together. Yes, I am Airini, and I'm humbled and honoured to hold the role of Provost and Vice President Academic here at this exceptional, beautiful, bold, ambitious, brave University of Saskatchewan. And it is truly so good to be here with everybody today. I would like to thank our elders who have joined us today, and for the words reminding us to listen kindly and to be kind to one another always. Dean Bonham-Smith, thank you for your leadership and the honour to be here today on this special day in this special place. As we celebrate the final stone step in anohc kipasikônaw, we rise, niipawi, this collaborative art project that is here at the Gordon Snellgrove Gallery. I hope that I may be helpful in some way of helping us to come together to say thank you in whatever language and whatever way may be best suited for the commitment and the contributions of all those who've worked so hard for this day. Yes, to our elders, to Lyndon, to Tusis, to Sandy Bonnie, to Vanessa Heigen, to our Dean, to the ISAP community. Lane, what amazing words, what wonderful representation you have done, and what a great reminder of the power of committing to reciprocity. Thank you. And also to our new interim Vice Provost Indigenous Engagement, Dr. Angela Jaime. Thank you for your leadership and the opportunity to be here today. I don't know about you, but did you see the moon last night? Wasn't the moon beautiful? Our mother, in a way, creating the possibility of being here today for this 13th step of the moon being honoured. And Lyndon assures me that there will be another moon in 28 days' time. It's incredible what's possible in Saskatoon. But this is a space that's dedicated to student voices and is so central to our campus. This gallery is really an ideal venue for this project, which celebrates, commemorates, honours Indigenous presence in the academy and foregrounds, honours, respects Indigenous knowledge systems. My understanding, and I am only 28 weeks here, my understanding is that the carving of the slate began in Indigenous Achievement Week in 2019 as a collaborative initiative of the University of Saskatchewan Galleries Artist in Residence Program, Indigenous Student Achievement Pathways, and the College of Arts and Science. Many, many students and staff members across our campus community have participated in carving the stone under the artistic leadership of Lyndon Tutusis, Sandy Bonney, and Vanessa Huygen. It is true that it's amazing to be here in person, human beings, as you said, rather than the virtual world. I'm so astonished that people are so tall. I'm so astonished that people have got a back as well, because it's all been like this. But this is really the multidimensional part of being a university that is committed to transformative decolonization leading to reconciliation. You being here today make us remember that it is multidimensional. It is every one of us together in this university here within this place that Jake so beautifully acknowledged in the opening words. We have missed you. We've missed you, our students, within our physical campus spaces. And ISAP and the galleries have made it possible to celebrate the power and the permanence of students' roles within the College of Arts and Science, and within this community that is unique and at the heart of our university, this community of learning, research, scholarly and artistic work, and the brave, intentional work of reconciliation. Alongside the installation of We Rise, Indigenous faculty shared messages to the University of Saskatchewan students, released as social media posts following the full moon of each lunar cycle, along with images of the artwork as it is installed. The relationship was always there, and we've always continued to keep it warm and true. And I have loved coming to know this project. I have immediately felt the commitment that is here and the honesty. So it touched me when the former Vice Dean Indigenous for the College of Arts and Science, and now our current interim Vice Provost Indigenous Engagement, said spontaneously, "I truly love this project." It's very humbling to be here at this stage in this 13 Moon powerful and empowering project. Being here makes it possible to see that we are moving forward as a university. And being here brings to mind a lesson for me from my mother about pathways and steps. I was one time in the bush with my mum. We were walking and scrambling, and I asked that question that no other child has ever asked of any parent scrambling through the bush. Are we there yet? And my mother said, sweetheart, remember, it is the journey that matters. So it is this journey of steps. And I love that you're all seated on these steps in front of us right now as well. That makes our destination of relationship, of reconciliation possible. And I'm going to hold that true, and my mother's presence true when I'm near the steps as well. We rise has meaning for each of us, unique meaning. For me today, it's a reminder of the strength and potential of every Indigenous student, their journey of rising up, their destination that's ahead, because of this collective work together that Lyndon spoke of. The potential for Indigenous success has never been greater. The potential for Indigenous success at the University of Saskatchewan has never been greater. The potential for reconciliation here at the University of Saskatchewan has never been greater. We are grateful for the College of Arts and Science and the work of our creative and artistic members of our community, making the realization of potential possible. And in closing, I would like to thank you all for joining us here today. And I express on behalf of the university my gratitude, our gratitude, to everyone involved in this collaborative art project that will take us all on a journey that was always meant to be. Thank you, everybody.
Every time I hear Airini speak, I feel quite deeply moved, and I'm certain that you do as well. We're very lucky to have the kind of leadership that we're gathering. I've only been here for 2 years myself, and I'm just persistently awed by the depth of people that come to us. So thank you. And of course, the depth of people includes the next person I'd like to introduce to you. We've mentioned many of the participants in this project, and really key to that is the artist in residence, our friend Lyndon Tatusis has been spoken about already today. But I'd like to tell you a little bit more about Lyndon. He is of the Battle River Cree tribal group, and he's been a sculptor for over 25 years. As a youth, he was traditionally guided and learned to make ceremonial objects. With permission from his elders, he shares their stories, legends, and beliefs through sculpture. His artwork is found in collections across Canada, including the Saskatchewan Arts Board and right here at the University of Saskatchewan. Lyndon has worked with the Allen Sapp Gallery and the Living Sky and Chinook School Districts, and in 2014, he was on the artistic team for the North American Indigenous Games, where he served as a mentor and ensured that cultural protocols were followed. Lyndon was the artist in residence that brought the premise of working with the moons to the project, for he knew it was not only Indigenous peoples that used the lunar calendar, but many newcomers as well. And it was that vision of connectivity, of continued relation, and of shared knowledges that he imbued this project with such depth and grace. Well, COVID cut his residency short. Prior to that, he shared with students many stories of his upbringing and a new understanding of the stones as our relations, not only the steps we've walked up on, but those that we have to walk through and over together. As an interpreter of the petroglyphs, he connects the past to the present and the future too. Well, he was a key collaborator on this project with Sandy Body and Vanessa Higgin. We're looking forward to hosting an exhibition of his carvings in the very near future. Lyndon, could you please say a few words?
Tanse kio nyoya skika muta ta pitakana piwanutsnia. As my friend said, I'm from the Battle River Cree. I live on Palmaker First Nation, out along at the confluence of the Battle and North Saskatchewan rivers. Very nice to meet you. Welcome to Welcome to a land where my people have wandered for 10,000 years, and I welcome you on behalf of them. The work I do, the participation that I had in this project is just a continuation of a lifelong journey that has been bestowed upon me. We all choose our own paths and how we get there. You all take this opportunity here at the university to further your education in order to fulfill your careers. Life lessons can't be missed. Opportunities should never be overlooked. When you see something that attracts your attention, pay attention. When I first came in contact with the university on this project, they were talking about doing facades of the buildings on these steps, which would have been nice. But I encouraged them to think beyond the brick and mortar, to things that in all of our traditions, in all of our histories, has a rooted connection, and that's the passage of time. It's only been 2021 years that this calendar that we use dates up to right now. The way we mark that time has changed over the years, but in our traditional ways, it stayed the same since the beginning of our times. No matter what land, no matter what continent, no matter what blood flows in you, your people trace their passages back to following the cycles of the moon. Every 28 days, there's another moon. While I was working on this project, these thoughts came to me, and I encouraged the newcomers to share their stories, to talk about how their ancestors marked that time, the names of each moon given the cycles. We call this the Rutting Moon. Some call it the harvest moon. As we go through life, that's something that we need to maintain a connection to in order to have a stronger look to the future, to be rooted to where you come from. I was told this as a child growing up at my father's side as he went and relearned the ways of our ceremonial practices. He was a resident in the schools. His religious practices were pushed out of him. But when the time came, that resurgence took him forward. He went to school here in the late 50s, early 60s at Lutheran College, where he ended up going into the Anglican Church. But throughout, he always said that that's something that he always remembered. He was always proud of where he came from, no matter what was put upon him for showing that. The simple act of speaking our language, the simple act of growing our hair, those things were literally beat out of them. Today we have opportunities to share what comes from in our hearts openly, without criticism, without fear of attack. That peace of mind that comes from knowing who you are will take you really far in life. These steps, they show 107 years of travel of students up and down. You look at them on the top. I tried to save that wear on top. That rock has been on this earth for, where is she? 500 million years. And it has witnessed the moon every time it's changed. Together, we're a stronger people. I encourage you to come and enjoy this. Come and thank my aunties and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lyndon. I think you're starting to understand the depth of what we're about to witness inside. If some of you have not yet seen the stones, and understand what it is for us to have taken so much time to build this project together. And when I was suggesting that this was part of the past and the present and the future simultaneously, just to imagine what we're engaging in this material world is something that is millennia. It's so beyond us, but that we are participant within it. So I'm persistently moved by this, and I am very lucky to be here at the University of Saskatchewan as the director of the art galleries and as a professor here in art and art history. And I'm so grateful to have my acting chair here, Lisa Vargo, my colleague Joseph Anderson, also an artist, people that really understand what it is that we do here, and to have Brody Burns, a painter also of this land and now an MFA student, and Kyle Zaravinsky, my colleague Shay Van de Velde, who works at ISAP, and my partner Steve Bates, who somehow always comes up behind and assists. And I just wanted to take a moment of gratitude there before I get to our next step, because there's so many people here, and we've had some lucky guests that will also take an opportunity to speak. But before we get there, it's my great pleasure to introduce to you Dean Peta Bonham-Smith. Peta Bonham-Smith is a professor of biology and dean, College of Arts and Science at the University of Saskatchewan. Peta received her PhD from the University of Calgary, where she studied plant responses to abiotic stresses. This research interest was further cultivated during her early tenure in the Department of Biology, with a focus on plant responses to temperature extremes and drought. Her current research focus is on the molecular biology of clubroot disease in canola, to identify pathogen effectors that provide the masking effect for Plasmodiaphora brassicae in a host plant cell. This might seem abstract to you if you are not of the sciences, but one of the reasons why I wanted to indicate the specific knowledges that Peta brings to us is because this breadth of knowledge that we're talking about bridging across. And when you think about Peta's knowledge of maintaining foodstuffs and working towards us, to working with this land and how we can best engage it in keeping our people safe, I think it's important work to acknowledge. And all too often, we separate out the arts from the sciences when in fact, millennia has passed prior to the Enlightenment, which I refer to as the Dark Ages. The arts and sciences were not so far apart. So when you think about the incredible depth of Indigenous knowledges and what it has to do with understanding what happens in our planetary way, our scope of being, and what it means to be of the land, it's reasonable to talk about this depth of practice that each of our members are bringing to the table. So thinking about that, from 2000 to 2002, Peta was the inaugural director of the Virtual College of Biotechnology. 2008 to 2010, the head of the Department of Biology. 2010 to 2015, the Vice Dean Science. And since July 2015, the Dean of the College of Arts and Science. Peta also served as a director with the Saskatchewan Research Council for 12 years. And from 2013 to 2014 was chair of the board. She's previously served on the SciAS Biotechnology Program Review Committee and the board of Genome Prairie between 2002 to 2005, and is currently on the board of the Open Door Society. Since 2004, she's been an associate editor for Botany. She enjoys watching Husky sports teams compete and also sits on the Husky Athletics Board of Trustees. She's also been a tireless supporter of the arts here on campus and worked diligently to bring the Galleries Imagined project into being. Her support has been invaluable to me, and I'm deeply saddened that she will be leaving her post as dean next year. Though as you can tell from the list of accomplishments I have just provided, she's well deserving of a break, and she has much valuable work to do elsewhere. Please welcome Dean Peta Bonham-Smith.
Thank you, Jake, I think. No, seriously, thank you for that kind introduction. As Jake's mentioned, I'm Peta Bonham-Smith. I'm the current Dean of the College of Arts and Science, and I'm so very pleased to be here to join you in the installation of this 13th and final engraved stone. I think just like Airini, I've got 3 decades in education, but they all 3 are here at this university. So this university means a lot to me, and where we are today is a long way from where we were when I started 30 years ago. On campus, the College of Arts and Science is the home of the arts, and we take that role very seriously, and we acknowledge the importance of that oversight role. We've seen how the arts can make a difference in our lives and in the world around us. We know the arts can help us start conversations about social issues. They can inform, they can inspire, and they can illuminate our conversations. And they can challenge us, and they can push us to do better. And they have a way of speaking to us that words don't. The arts are also inclusive and collaborative, and they promote understanding and help build relationships. The project we are celebrating today is a prime example of such. This morning we are honored to be viewing the beautiful results of the collaboration between the 3 artists, Vanessa Higgin, Lyndon Tatusis, and Sandy Barney, who have already been introduced. And 2 years ago, Jake arrived and influenced and attributed her influence to the stones as well. So thank you. Together, all of them, and together with all of our members of our community. I want to thank you all for your inspiration and creativity. And thank you, Lyndon, for bringing that inspirational change to the stones. As we have heard, this innovative project began during Indigenous Achievement Week back in February 2020, which is a very different day to today. It was cold. And it was also cold because it was just prior to the campus closing, and that really was a cold time for all of us. But prior to that, I was able to be one of those many students, staff, and faculty who visited this gallery, the Golden Stall Grove Gallery, and took part in carving some of the stones. And I remember Sandy Barney giving me a little tool and saying, "Stay between the lines." These stones are amazing stones. If you haven't seen them just yet, as we've mentioned, they're just from the building across the way there, the Thorvaldsen building, and they were on those steps for over 100 years with people, as one of our guests here today, Lillian, Senator Lillian Dick, previous Senator Lillian Dick, remembers being part of campus more than 30 decades ago, and traversing those many steps. So Lillian, your footprints are on those steps as well. But interesting for me, when I was able to contribute my little bit of carving, and I use that term very lightly, I took a photograph of the step that I was carving. Well, I've got written here that I was naively working on. I was carving. So when I knew I was going to be here today, I went back and had a look at my photos to see which step, which stone I was actually carving on, and it was this one. It was Rutting Moon, and I've got the photographs to prove it. So I was very thankful to be one of those contributors to one of these beautiful 13 steps. But I'm also very grateful that one of the artists came along after me and really made everything fit between the lines. So carving these stair treads with chrysobecs was a symbolic act. It represents decolonization. It represents the creation of space within our institution for Indigenous traditions, for languages, and for ways of knowing. And this is a visual act of embodiment of the spirit of reconciliation. These stone steps are also representative of the values and goals in our College of Arts and Science. And as I've said previously, and I reiterate again today, indigenization is integral to our college's future and vision. We are actively seeking to decolonize the College of Arts and Science by addressing openly racism and promoting understanding across not just our college, but across the whole campus. Nearly every student on this campus at some point takes a course, participates in some activity within the College of Arts and Science. We have that huge influence. What we do matters not just to our college, but to this whole campus. Over the past years, the collaborative art projects stemming from Indigenous Achievement Week have begun to transform the appearance of our campus. This outward renewal is only a small part of the change underway, but it is a very meaningful and significant part. It is vital that our Indigenous students see themselves reflected in their campus, and it is important that the spaces around us provoke discussion and inspiration in the way that we know only art can do. So I am very grateful to our artists and to our staff members and our students for their vision for this project, and to all of those who helped bring this beautiful piece of artwork to life. And I'm also very grateful to have been invited to be present here today for this, the final installation of the 13 phases of the moon. We rise. Thank you.
Well, I know it's been a fairly long day already, but I'm going to ask one special guest to speak who has made a special request. We're quite blessed today to have a previous Senator Lillian Dick here with us, and she's asked to say a few words. So with great pleasure, thank you.
Thank you for including me on the agenda. When I saw that this was happening today, I thought, I have to go. I really do have to go. I was first a student here at the University of Saskatchewan in 1963. That's almost 6 decades ago.
You win.
And I was basically, for my first degree, I was a chemistry major. So I spent many hundreds of hours, thousands of days in that beautiful building, and walked up and down those steps many times. And I loved those steps. They were so uneven. And there was a like beautiful brass railing. And when I think back to my days as a student, I do think of those steps. And I'm so glad that this project came to fruition, and that now I had no idea I was contributing to an art project. I wouldn't be able to do very good at carving, but I went up and down those steps, like I said, thousands and thousands of times. And my first summer job as a university student was I was a research assistant in the Department of Chemistry, and I worked for Dr. Tom Pepper. I don't know if there's anybody here from the chemistry department, probably not, but I'll represent them. A lot of very good memories. And when I took my degree, I had no idea that I would end up where I ended up, that I would do a graduate degree, get my PhD, and become a senator. And that's what's so important, I think, about university training, is that you develop those skills which transfer in ways that you could never imagine. So today's students, honestly, the future is wide open. When I was a student, there was no such word even as Indigenous being used. There was no acknowledgement of who I was as a human being. And my mother was a residential school survivor. I'm a member of the George Gordon First Nation. My dad was Chinese. So my last name then was Kwan, and I did not self-identify as an Indigenous student because of the shame and the racism. Today, it's very different. And one of my fondest memories in that building actually goes back to the late Walter Linkletter and Maria Linkletter, who did probably the very first smudge ceremony in the, I can't remember the name of the room, the famous lecture theater in Chem, the airplane room, room 2, whatever it is, on the 2nd floor. And that, to me, that's probably 20 years ago now. That was like a magical moment for me, because I never imagined that I would feel proud of myself as an Indigenous student, and that there would be a smudging ceremony where I took my first year chemistry class. And now we have these beautiful artwork, the steps that will last forever. They already lasted, what did you say, Bonnie, 500,000 years? I can't even imagine how long that is. Longer than I'm going to live. So what a great initiative. And, you know, listening to our speakers today and knowing, you know, with the Indigenous Students Achievement Academic Program, whatever it's called. Sorry, I'm kind of out of date. And seeing the dedication of our senior administrators here, it's really, truly inspiring. So I'm really happy to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lillian. That story just confirms how much points of contact leave a mark, whether that be on the stone steps or with one another. And those points of contact can be damaging or they can be full of care. And we have decisions to make. But when you think about the way of people have been speaking to you, the leaders we're sitting with here at the front, and all of you sitting on these stairs, I feel quite encouraged. We're going to close now with some words from Angela Jaime. And Angela's new to Saskatchewan. She arrived into a pandemic and yet very quickly was in my backyard visiting the stones that were in our garage. So she's been with us from this point of transition, and as she's been here for such a short time, but is on a meteoric rise. So it's my great pleasure and gratitude to have you come and conclude our celebration for today.
Whew, I'm the last one. That's the good thing, right? You guys tired of sitting here? I would be. It's been a long one, but it's so important. I'm going to be quick, so I'll be the best one. I'm so grateful to be able to close our day today and with some good words, and thank all these amazing people who've been involved in this initiative. It is, as Jake was saying, I came in the middle of the pandemic in July 1st. I actually crossed the border from the University of Wyoming, but my homeland is the Pitt River in the Valley Maidu on the northeastern side of Mount Shasta and the Sacramento Valley. So that's where my people are from, and so I'm very grateful that the people of this land have allowed me to raise my children and to be here, to meet these amazing people, and to be part of this celebration. So there have been lots of people who've touched the stones and come through and been able to be part of this initiative. We're very grateful for Lyndon Tutusit's.
Close enough.
Yeah, there we go. Lyndon's guidance on this. His artwork inspires many people across this land and beyond. So thank you very much for that. We have gifts for each of the participants. We'd like to thank Airini, Dr. Airini, for participating in today and being so supportive of our Indigenous students, initiatives across campus, and just coming. So thank you for coming. Again, this initiative wouldn't have been possible without the support of our administrators, and Dr. Peta Bonham-Smith has been very supportive of our initiatives in the college, the Stones and Beads. Oh, I got a buddy here. He's going to help me. The Stones and Beads project prior to this, and the Stone project, and many others I'm certain of. And it's been an honor to have our Honorable Lillian Dick here. I met her only a few months ago, and it was pretty amazing because I think of all the incredible Indigenous women who've come before me and have inspired our Indigenous students and our women across the land. And I think of her as one of those trailblazers, one of those people that we sit on her shoulders because she's blazed that trail. So we appreciate her support and her coming today. We also thank Dirk DeBoer, who was not here. He was here earlier. He had to go teach a class. Pesky job he's got. So But he was very supportive of all of those that were players in this initiative. He's been a fantastic interim Vice Dean Indigenous for 2 years prior to me coming on board, and really set me up for success with this particular project to be able to support it in the same way. So we do have a gift for him as well. For our elders who have been here from day one and continue to support not only this project, but our students, our staff, faculty, our administration, and have been hugely supportive of the work that we've been doing. I look to them for guidance. I ask them for help. They've been amazing throughout this entire process. But we'd like to honor our beautiful elders, Florence and Evelyn, with with orange blankets to honor them.
Angela said I had to dance, but I think I'll pass because I'll probably trip and break my neck or something. But thank you for being here, and I hope that when the sun rises in the morning, that you'll be thankful just for you, and that continues to your family, your children, and grandchildren. ᓅᒋհިტowipîsim.
Nisagagi na ginanas kumit na, wow. I finally got my snag and blanket. It's good to laugh. So we'll end, I guess, that way. Thank you so much for being here.
And again, Lyndon has been instrumental in helping to prepare and to see this project through. And we also have a blanket to honor his work and his support. We've had also 3 important people in our project that have never been in front of the camera or taken any kind of recognition for their work, but we've always looked to them to help, to support the work that Vanessa, Sandy, and Jake and Lyndon have done. And so we have gifts for Brody, who's an amazing artist, I might add. He's wearing one of his sweatshirts. Y'all should just check that out. But he's amazing artist. And Kyle, who's behind the camera, behind all the cameras that happen at the museum. I wonder if he could. And one of the hearts and souls of our ISAP program, Ms. Shayla. And last but not least, our 2 amazing artists and our Snell Grove director. They've been just driving this entire project, from the carving to the setting up to the coming during the pandemic, packing the stones into the back of their car, taking them to Jake's house, using her garage in the dead of winter, and just seeing this through. So we have gifts for Jake, Sandy, and Vanessa. And this concludes our wonderful project today, our airing of the stones. We welcome you in a social distance kind of way to come and enjoy the stones and the art gallery. It's an amazing place. It's very inviting. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.